What's up YouTube? I want to make this video today to talk about where I think the fitness business boutique industry is going over the next 10 years. And this is super important because we have to realize that we've had massive growth in the last 10 years. The boutique industry, and by that I mean boot camps, large groups, small groups, fitness facilities, we've grown exponentially as an industry in the last 10 years for very specific reasons. But what we've got to realize is that the next 10 years, I believe, are going to be very, very different. And a lot of fit pros who already are struggling and having a hard time with their business and cash flow, things are going to get a bit worse. And so I'm going to cover in this video super important information. If you care about your business and you want to keep being successful in the years to come, you need to tune into this, all right? So let's quickly wind the clocks back to get an understanding of how we got here, where we came from, and what this means going forward. So it was about when 2008, the global economic recession happened. After that point, a lot of people started wanting personal training at a more affordable rate, or to get personal training results. And that's when the rise of fitness boot camps really started in the USA. And then by 2010, that trend had spread to the UK and Europe, or some parts of Western Europe. And we had a lot of boot camps on fields, in church halls, schools. And I did the same thing, and I built my boot camps like that too. And so did many of you. And then over the last 10 years, from 2010 to 2020, some of us then have really clicked and locked onto that model. We've taken advantage of certain benefits that have been given to us specifically in this last 10 years, which I'll go into in a second. And we've really made the model work. And we evolved then from outdoor boot camps to having indoor locations, to having transformation centers, and then even multiple locations. And now, I've done okay, I guess, in the last 10 years, but there are other guys, some of my original mentors, Sam Bakhtiar being one of them, who, when I started working with him about 7 years ago, he had 3 locations. He was turning over $1 million revenue back then, but he's gone from 3 locations to now having over 150. So, and there's many other guys like that I can name. Travis Jones, another guy who has absolutely crushed it this last decade, and taken this model and really been a pioneer to lead it. Bedros Keuilian with the Fit Body Bootcamp, and all these kind of things, right? There's been huge exponential growth for some people in this industry who've locked onto the opportunity and ran with it. And what is really important is that we have to understand there were 3 major things that I believe helped us get to this point. So if you're making a low 6-figure revenue or up, see if you can identify with this too. Now look, I'm also not discrediting myself or anybody else. Of course, there's hard work involved, being a great coach, getting results for your clients, being very entrepreneurial, making sacrifices, but that's as standard. But on top of that, there are 3 specific things that I believe led to this massive growth over the last 10 years. And this is important to be aware of, because I don't think these advantages that got us here are going to carry us through the next 10 years. And too many of us are relying on these advantages that I'm about to go through, not realizing they're not going to be around forever, and they're quickly disintegrating. So what am I talking about? Number one, okay, one of the major aspects over the last 10 years that's helped us massively grow and helped at least me get to where I am today was the abundance and freedom of information and tools on how to grow and market your fitness business. So when I first got into the game and opened up my boot camp on a piece of land, I was fortunate enough to come across the blog of Chris McCombs, one of my original mentors. And I just got tons and tons of information, strategies. I learned from guys like Bedros Keuilian, Sam Bakhtiar, who put out free information. Pat Rigsby is another one. These guys had a monumental effect on me applying these strategies, getting ahead, and really getting my first 20, 30 clients and making a basic income. And I know for a fact if I'd got into this business 15 or 20 years earlier, then these kind of tools and the internet wouldn't have been there. And it would be a lot harder to figure things out. So that's number one. We've had access over the last 10 years to free content or super cheap programs and tools to get tons of information on how to successfully market and grow a business. That's number one, and we've taken that for granted. Number two, the next thing is we've had very low cost tools and softwares, primarily to do with web building softwares like Lead Pages, ClickFunnels, and also customer management tools and CRMs like MindBody, Zen Planner, ActiveCampaign, things like this. So again, before 10 years ago, to get a website set up and a CRM, it would have cost you at least £5,000 for a website and hundreds of pounds a month for a CRM management software. But because technology has rapidly grown in the last 10 years, we're able to get a web presence, build a marketing funnel, and do all of this and manage our clients for less than a couple of $100 a month. That has been super important, more important than we realize, because it's lowered the cost of entry. And so you haven't needed as much capital to get started with a business. You can just get onto a playing field or a low-cost sports hall and start running, building your funnel and running offers and using the free information online to know what kind of offers work and how to upsell people and things like that. And of course, that leads us on to the third and perhaps the biggest opportunity we've had in the last 10 years. And you probably know what this is: Facebook ads. So Facebook ads are, absolutely massive, right? See, before the days of Facebook ads, I started my first bootcamp just before Facebook ads became a thing. And I remember very fondly, I would spend 2 to 4 hours a day getting away from my computer. I didn't use my computer back then very often. I would get into my town, I'd be connecting with local salons, I'd be walking into schools, I would be doing charity fundraisers, I would be doing public speaking to whoever I could, groups of 4 people. I would be publishing articles in all the local media. I'd be trying to get on the local radio. I was doing all that stuff, right? Organic and endorsed marketing, where I partner with other people. And then Facebook ads came along, and I used that stuff, which of course I learned how to do from following some of the free information and advice from those names I mentioned before: Pat Rigsby, Chris McCombs, Sam Bakhtiar, Paul Mort helped me a lot in the early days as well. And so because of these 3 things put together, then when I started Facebook ads, it literally doubled my client base in a week. So I hustled and grinded and used organic strategies to get the first 30 or 40 clients. Then I started running Facebook ads at £5-10 a day, and then I doubled that client base in a week. So, and back then we were getting leads for about 30 pence, right? So Facebook ads and cheap website softwares and the rise of information of how to market your business have been huge factors in how we've been able to get this success over the last 7 to 10 years. And I took advantage of it to a degree, but there are other guys like Sam Bakhtiar and Travis Jones who really went all in. It frustrates me a little bit that I didn't go as all in as they did, and they've really crushed it now with dozens and dozens of locations. So massive respect to those guys. But here's the thing. Here's where this is important. I would not be here today if it wasn't for those things, right? And of course, a good entrepreneur is able to spot those opportunities and take advantage of them. But a great entrepreneur also doesn't rely on those opportunities and also strategizes and plans for the future when those opportunities might not be available. There will come a day where we cannot rely on these things as an advantage anymore. And my friends, I believe that day is coming up very, very quickly. For some of you listening to this, that day has already come. Depends if you're in a more saturated area or not. And here's the truth, guys. The last 7 years, have been the easiest in history to make 6 or 7 figures with a boutique fitness studio, bootcamp or facility. The easiest. But I assure you the next 7 years will not be as easy because we don't have these same advantages. And because what happened is, because these advantages lowered the barrier of entry for you to get ahead and get successful, it also lowered the barrier for all the other PTs in your area to do the same. So it really has been a case of who gets in there fastest and who really monopolizes and gets in there first. That's just the way business works. And because of that, we have to realize that these advantages are now becoming less accessible, because as more people also got in with the same tools and access, it saturates certain areas. So, if you were the first one in there to do a 6-week challenge or run Facebook ads, you'd have amazing success. But then when everyone runs the same offer as you, when everyone's click funnels look the same, when everyone's Facebook ads look the same, suddenly the advantage goes down and your ads cost more and your conversions go down. And that's where a lot of Fit Pros right now are. And if you're in that spot, you need to listen very closely to the rest of this video. But there's a lot of Fit Pros I also fear that are stuck in what's called cognitive bias. Now, cognitive bias, if you got started in business in the last 3 to 5 years, listen up close, especially if you're making low 6 figures right now and you don't want to lose everything. Cognitive bias is the mindset that you think that the way things are today is the way they're always going to be. Let me repeat that. Cognitive bias. It's a mindset where you presume the way things are now is the way they're always going to be. So if you got into the industry and you became self-employed or opened a business anywhere in the last 5 to 7 years, you might be led to believe that this is just how it is. You got into the game with Facebook ads. You got into the game with all these cheap tools. And because of that, so many Fit Pros who came into the industry in recent years are lazy, entitled, and don't see the problem, because all they've ever known is, well, you just sit back and run Facebook ads. And they're not doing the things that I was doing in the early days and don't know what it really takes to grow a business. And so they're relying on the Facebook ad opportunity or relying on a 6-week challenge because they think that it's always going to work because it's working today. And so you've got to realize you've come into the business into a super good economy that isn't going to be the same in the next 10 years. And so don't get caught in that cognitive bias. Take advantage of these opportunities right now, but you've got to also prepare for your business's future for a day where you might not be able to rely on these things. Okay? So look, to give you an example, 5 years ago, when we ran Facebook ads, we would get qualified leads for 30 pence each. 30 pence. But now, five years later, we pay up closer to £3 a lead. Now, relatively, that's still good. I'll pay £3 a lead all day long. But if I fall into cognitive bias, then I don't realize that over 5 years, that's a 10x cost increase. 30 pence to £3, it's 10x difference. So a lot of Fit Pros are stuck in the absolute. And they think, I'm paying £3, £4, £5 a lead, so there's no problem here. But it's only a snapshot of your business career. 5 years is not a long time in business. But because I'm fortunate enough that I came from that I'm a product of the time where there wasn't Facebook ads to begin with, I never took them for granted, and I can see that, hey, I was paying 30 pence back then, now it's £3, that's okay, but I'm still uncomfortable, because if over the next 5 years, Facebook ad costs 10x again, now I'm going to be paying £30 a lead, and that is not sustainable for me or most Fit Pros watching this. So if you're relying on all your leads coming from Facebook, what's going to happen when it costs 10x more, right? And so, you don't want to end up being like the frog in boiling water. That's how a lot of Fit Pros are today. They're like a frog in water that's slowly being boiled and things are getting worse. But it's so slow and gradual, they can't feel it. That's cognitive bias. thinking that because the water's not boiling today, it won't be boiling tomorrow, but it might be. And you wake up and you're at boiling point, and either your ads are costing 10x more, or maybe your ads account has been disabled, right? And then what? What do you do then? So what's the solution, and what am I doing, and what are my business partners doing, and what am I teaching fit pros around the world in our mentorship to do to really strategize for the next 7 to 10 year cycle, which I think is going to be very different, and we have to rely on different opportunities, okay? And that's the cool thing. Opportunities create challenges, and challenges lead to new opportunities if you know how to spot them. So here are 3 factors that we're focusing on, and I want you to focus on too. This is where we get to the meat of this right now. Number 1, alternative sources of paid advertising. That's the first thing. Don't rely just on Facebook. It's very likely in the coming years, more likely than ever, Facebook are going to do one of 2 things to you. Either your ad costs are going to increase, or they're going to end up disabling your account, or you've just got to pay more money. Because before, you could spend £5 a day, but now there are bigger companies gunning for your audience, or more fit pros gunning for that same audience. Facebook is going to reward the advertising space on the newsfeed to whoever pays the most. So before, if you were spending £10 a day, you still got your ads shown. But now there's companies spending £100 a day, then Facebook are not going to show your ads anymore, and then you have no conversions. So you've got to be willing to spend a bit more, at least £15 to £20 a day, depending on your area, maybe more. If you're not willing to pay to play for the same opportunity, you're going to lose it. And I also recommend you set up additional lead sources. So we also run Google ads, we run YouTube ads, we run Instagram story ads. We're looking back into more print advertising, putting ads in local newspapers and magazines, radio adverts. Now, none of these things are probably going to be as cost effective as Facebook ads are right now, but it's not about beating the Facebook ads. It's about having an insurance policy. So if our Facebook ads did become unsustainably expensive, or if our ads account are disabled, we can just move over and start then still generating leads through other paid sources. That's got to be number 1. Number 2, local branding is going to become more important than ever. When the Facebook ad opportunity crumbles, which I believe it will in 2020 for most fit pros, local branding is going to be all the rage. So a lot of you have just got used to sitting behind a laptop waiting for Facebook ads to work. And so many fit pros today, because that's all you've ever done, you're scared shitless to go and talk to a salon owner or approach a school or publish an article in local media. And this is why I'm so grateful I had to do this stuff. 9 years ago when I first set up my bootcamp, I didn't have the luxury of Facebook ads. I had to go and do this stuff for 3 to 4 hours a day. So to me, I've always done this. I took advantage of Facebook ads, but I never relied on them. And I've kept doing this stuff, and so do my business partners, and so do our clients. So we have additional leads coming in aside from Facebook. But so many fit pros today just aren't doing this yet. And they're sitting there just hoping Facebook are gonna work. Cognitive bias. So what you're gonna see is we're gonna see the industry go full circle, and the hot content you're gonna start seeing from marketing coaches and whatever else is that you need to do more organic marketing, more endorsed and cross-promotional marketing. You need to collaborate with other business owners, get in local media, brand yourself locally. And again, we've been doing this all the time, but you're gonna see this become the hot topic because Facebook ads don't sell as well as they used to. There were so many Facebook ad experts the last 5 years, not because they're experts, but because it's so easy to make Facebook ads work. When it was 50 pence a lead, my grandmother could have run your Facebook ads at a profit for you. Now that these Facebook ad experts are getting smoked out because they weren't really experts, they just took advantage at the right time, and now they can't get results for their fit pros anymore. These agencies are being smoked out and they're vanishing, and you're gonna see more of them start talking about content marketing, organic marketing, collaborations and stuff. And again, we've been doing that since day one, but we're gonna see it go back to that now. So I'm happy for this, I'm prepared, I'm excited about this because I know how to do all this stuff and I've been doing it for years. And the third thing that you guys really need to get from this, it's no longer good enough to be a personal trainer who learns some marketing stuff. The last 7 years, you could do that. All you had to do was learn to put a click funnel together, run some cheap Facebook ads, and for under £100 a month, you'd get 20 leads a day coming in. As many of you are realizing right now, that is not working as well, and it's only going to keep getting worse and worse and worse for the reasons I've outlined in this video. So what you need to do now, the businesses who are going to succeed from 2020 onwards in the next decade are those who understand real business. You can't just learn marketing. It's not sustainable. It only works to a certain point, to a low six-figure revenue. To grow beyond six figures, you actually need to learn about business systems, hiring people, managing finances, creating profitability. You know, so many gyms I work with make low or high six figures, and do you know how much profit they have? Zero. So they're making 40, 50, 60K a month, but the owner actually earns and takes home less money than if they worked at McDonald's. And these businesses are like one bad month away from closure because there's no cash in the bank, there's no profits. Revenue alone from clever marketing is not enough. It'll get you in the game, but it won't keep you in the game, and it won't allow you to scale. Those who are going to scale to multiple locations and have sustainability and profitability long term are those that learn real business advice, how to manage systems, how to manage finance, how to lead a team, how to grow and scale properly, how to diversify their revenue streams. And that's why our guys get such good results, because this is what we teach in our mentorship. We teach marketing stuff, yeah, but we also teach 90% real business growth strategies. And that is where now you're going to need to level up your education, and because the industry has matured. If you don't know how to run a real business, if you can't read a P&L statement, if you don't have a balance sheet, if you aren't doing financial projections 12 months ahead, you're going to have a very tough time, because you can't just go and rely on a Facebook ad to work anymore, right? It's not just about making revenue, it's about profitability, sustainability, and scalability. Remember those three words: profitability, sustainability, scalability. That's what we teach our Fit Pros to do, and that's how we're growing our locations a lot more. So these are some of my thoughts, guys, and this is really some of the most important content I've put out in recent years, because I really see this as a state of the industry address. This is where I see things going. A lot of Americans have been hit hard by this stuff already, and it's now hitting the UK and even Europe. So you've got to keep on top of things, guys. Many of you are realizing that business is not just about running some ads. To stay in the long game, more than 10 years in business, you have to adapt as the world changes, okay? And real entrepreneurs thrive on this change and create new opportunities out of existing challenges. So, hey, tag this, let me know your comments. I would love to start a discussion on this. Not enough people are talking about this. Tag this content with a Fit Pro that you know and you care about who needs to hear this, and make sure you're not suffering cognitive bias. Remember those three things I told you to focus on: alternative paid ad sources, local branding, organic marketing, and building and learning a real business education. Okay, if you want more help on that, find out some of my other content, follow the links below. Please subscribe on YouTube, that would really help us out a lot. And if you want to get in touch with me, send me a WhatsApp. My personal WhatsApp number, it's 00357 9680 6626. I'll answer all messages personally. I want to engage and connect with you.